I realized last night that getting ready for today, this is the first time we've been pre-recording for the last year. And so you get what you get today. There's no editing. And I have to confess, I had my themes, and I've been working on a message around Sabbath is our theme for today. And ended up with some news yesterday about dear Walter Weinberg, who passed away unexpectedly. So my heart I just found myself later yesterday kind of taking a turn. And I share that because I can imagine maybe you've had moments where you're planning something, or your mind and your heart and your body, and boy, sometimes something happened that can just stop you in your tracks. So here we go to reflect on his words that Reverend Mary shared about Sabbath. And my thought was originally, this is the beginning of coming together. It's the beginning of the summer season, and I wanted all of us to be thinking of ways that we can care for ourselves and maybe give ourselves some Sabbath type things to think about ritually as a people of faith. But I wanted to start with baseball. So take note of that, Robert Moore and Karen, because I'm not a sportsy person, if you haven't noticed. And so sports things don't just come naturally to me because I don't pay attention to everything. But I was thinking about, because the issue around Sabbath, what got my little brain going was around rituals and things that we do in the rhythm of our life, of our week, of our day, of our year. And what do baseball players have? Rituals, superstitions, right? So in this year's baseball season, our Colorado Rockies still struggle on the road. What's up with that? But while we send them good wishes, playing at home and away, I got to thinking about some of these. So I found one journalist who had written about this. Deborah Binter says, it's important to some baseball players that they repeat a certain routine before a game that must be exactly the same without deviating from its pattern. Routines are usually performed to keep a winning streak, right? If I had good luck doing this once, I may have good luck again, so I'm not washing my underwear all season. Woofda. Mike Hargrove, nicknamed the Human Rain Delay, had a routine before each at-bat and pitch, which included adjusting his gloves, sleeves, and helmet. A routine could be maybe just a little simple detail. Jack Glasscock was known as Pebbly, a 19th century player. He was so named for picking up pebbles on the infield and throwing them away. Don't know if it helped. Wade Boggs was known as one of the most superstitious baseball players, with so many rituals, including taking exactly 150 grounders during warm-ups and drawing a Hebrew symbol in the dirt before entering the batter's box. Larry Walker wore the number 3. He practiced swings in sets of 3. He set his alarm for 3:33 p.m., fixed his glove 3 times, married on the 3rd day of the month at 3:33 p.m. It only seems likely that the bat plays an important role in some routines also. R.A. Dickey of the New York Mets named his bats. Kevin Romberg was insistent that if a player touched him, he would touch them back, even during a game. It has been mentioned by baseball members that superstitions are just habits. Many habits by baseball players are thought to bring luck, but one thing is for sure, that baseball players are creatures of habit. Baseball is full of memorable events, home runs, historical players, and superstitions. And baseball's not the only sport. In our house, we're a tennis family, so we've had the French Open on the last couple days, and there are some players that are known for their particular movement and things they do every single time they come up before they hit the ball. So what about you, friends? Rituals. What kind of rituals do you have? Do you have particular order of things that you do? Brushing your teeth, combing your hair, washing your face, getting dressed. Do you have a particular place that you put stuff? Is it something that helps you just to feel calm in your day, or do you even really think about it? In the morning, in the evening, what are the things you do to get ready for bed, to rest? Leaving home, I was noticing in myself that now with our car that we've had the last few months, I have just very particular things as far as getting down, starting the car, getting the seat belt on in a particular way, making sure the lights are on, locking the door. Am I not on? Okay. Well, food. Hello? Is this on? Two switches. Hello, hello? All right, turn it back down, Kama. Okay. So, are there things that you notice that you do in your day-to-day life? And some things that may be kind of funny, or just things that you notice, or maybe things that your partner notices that you've never really thought of. Rituals, superstitions.
The battery?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right.
I'll try this one.
I can't believe them.
All the batteries and all the microphones today.
I put new ones in that.
Oh. So as we think about our life and think about Sabbath, I don't know what that word, if that word has any meaning for you, either currently or historically. I remember hearing my mom and aunt talk about when they were growing up, the Sabbath, for them was Sunday, was a time with no movie going, no card playing, and you had particular behaviors at home. Anybody else grow up in a household with any kind of Sabbath things? No? Maybe, oh, there's Bob. Okay, Bob. That might be a southern thing, but a lot of families might have things around that. But I want you to think about, gosh, friends, we're coming off a year like no other in over 100 years that our nation has gone through, that people have gone through, families have gone through. And we're coming into this summer season. It's warm. People are going to be getting outside and going to concerts and getting out shopping or walking the streets and doing things. Are there things that we can do as we lean into this to hold on to that sense of Sabbath or ritual or routine or care or remembering that God is a part of it all? And that is ultimately what that Sabbath commandment is about, is that it's not all about us, that we're not the center of the universe, that God is a part of us, in us, through us, moving us. So the stories that Reverend Mary read, Jesus encountering the Pharisees and having a little back and forth on the Sabbath, and he basically contends that sometimes certain demands of the law, which may be held in strict motion for people, are rightly set aside in favor of pursuing greater values of meeting greater needs, especially when those greater needs promote a person's well-being and facilitate the arrival of divine blessings, one author says. So it's not just, oh, I'm not going to pay attention to the Sabbath, I'm not going to do that. Jesus was a follower. He knew the commandments, he knew the law in and out, he had the Psalms memorized, he knew all that. That was a very important part of his life. And he also knew that part of his tradition taught that there is a greater good at times. And so how can we tend to ourselves in the midst of that? So, as we think about in our busy lives today, the ins and outs, the ups and downs, we may not even think about rituals in our lives. But I want us to just pause and do that today. The proper function of the Sabbath, one person said, is to promote life and to extol God as a liberator. Remember, for the Jewish people, much of their spiritual tradition harkens back to the Exodus and God as a liberating God. And so the sense of Sabbath, honor the Sabbath day and keep it holy. Everyone knew that. And what does that mean for us today? How can that be a gift for us sitting here, 2021. The Pharisees understood the Sabbath, and they were maybe annoyed that this upstart young teacher was out in the fields making a show of his lesson about coming up against it. But for us, can we today think of receiving the Sabbath here and now, coming out of this extraordinary year that we have, to take this summertime as a gift from God for our lives, for our families, for the rhythms that we will be leaning into and starting anew in new ways. Or in our days of lights and sounds and technology and notifications and work cycle, Sabbath may be both a gift and a challenge. I mean, our culture, folks, holy moly. I don't know if there's any other introverts in the room. Anyone want to own that? I mean, that's something I've been growing into in my life. But I tell you, this culture of lights and sounds, and if you have your phone now, if you get your cell phone, when you get a new phone, if you do nothing, it will automatically beep and light and vibrate, and every time you get a notice that somebody's trying to reach out, or that this Facebook person did this, or that this website, or this YouTube, or this person's trying to get a hold of you, and your phone will just constantly be a source of stimulation for you. And so you have to take the Sabbath role of saying, no, I don't need that. I don't need that. Turn off that notification, turn off that. But it's like, it assumes you want everything. All the lights and the buzzes and the sounds. And we get a lot of that out in the world, don't we? The lights and the buzzes and the sounds. The commercials that are on TV nowadays, the movies, the speed, the volume. Doug, I'm sure, gets really tired of me with the remote in hand, because if it's an action movie, it goes from being really loud on the action, which I don't, to then I can't hear the dialogue. And so we are in a time when we're just surrounded by stimulation. The Sabbath is also a way, as we think about our American history and the labor movement, some of my readings around them, that they have helped us, and as Methodists have been part of the social gospel movement in the last over 100 years, to lift up the notion of a 24-hour day. Think about that 24-hour day we live, consisting of 8 hours for rest, 8 hours for work, and 8 hours, one poster that they used in years past said 8 hours for what you will. So, does that work in your life? 8 hours for rest, 8 hours for work, 8 hours for what you will? Do you feel pulled and stretched and stressed in a particular part of that that's getting out of balance? I don't know. Our 24/7, 365 world, the lights and the sounds that are around us. People have talked and written about our current culture, which instead of allowing us to use technology, many people talk about how our technology seems to use us and to own us. And so part of this Sabbath invitation this summer, as we kick-started this season, might be, are there parts of my life that I'm just feeling are taking over and taking care, doing what they will? Are there things I can do to simplify, to put some structure or rhythm in my day, in my week? Interesting, I see sometimes online where here, if you spend an hour chopping and cooking and putting together meals, you can have meals for the week. Are there things for busy families and people that are feeling stretched, if you're taking care of others or whatever you're doing in your work and private and home life? How can we consider that sense of Sabbath being a part of that? What might Sabbath look like, feel like? How many of us wake up and realize it's June already? Where did that month go? Even though this last year people have been saying, oh my gosh, when will it end? Where did that month go? Here we are, June already. Graduations, people leaving, people moving, people transitioning in all kinds of ways. So honing in on that practice of the Sabbath, whenever and however we do that, might this be an invitation for us to lift our heads and to take stock of what is around us, our family systems, have we checked in with friends? Have we made that step to connect with other people this last week, month, or year? To focus on this ancient command from God, which is strident throughout the scriptures, reminding us that a part of our placing God at the center of our lives is this capacity to pause, to reflect, to rest. And that sense of pausing is something that has struck me. It's been a flurry of a week, kind of getting ready for this first live service. Also, I'm on a plane at 2:42 this afternoon for Texas, so trying to get some things done a little bit ahead of time. But I came back around to this writing from an author. Her name is Lori Deschene, and she talks about the pause. So as we think about this notion of Sabbath and taking care of ourselves physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, this might be a part of that. She says, practice the pause. Pause before judging. Pause before assuming. Pause before accusing. Pause whenever you're about to react harshly, and you'll avoid doing and saying things you might later regret. And that has been a very powerful piece for me to come back to frequently. Am I pausing? You know, I talk about taking a breath, right? We take a breath. But that sense of, not that you won't do what you were thinking about, but is there a way of utilizing that Sabbath gift to pause before we act? Because the world around us wants us to act and then think about what we're doing. Or not think about it. Just do it. And so this ancient Sabbath rhythm of pausing, thinking, what is it that I want to say? How can I be helpful or instructive? Or even critical in a healthy way? So homework for us this week. Well, actually, before I get to that, there was a person, a psychologist, who actually wrote a piece on this sense of the pause. And she reminds us, we are racing to get ahead of others. We eat fast, we work fast, we are reluctant to slow down for anything. Impatience, restlessness, and loss of emotional control take a toll on whatever we think, feel, and do. To hit that pause button enables us to get the much needed breathing space that is only ours. It's time to do pause, to pray, to become a righteous and powerful being. So, as we continue breathing together, we can think of that practicing the pause as a part of being Sabbath followers with God. And so the practical thing, I was going to say our homework for this week, including myself, is to look at our calendar. Might have something on the wall, might be on your phone, to consider the rhythm of our days as we emerge from the depths of this COVID year, and to think how you, individually or in your family or in partnership, might intentionally build in ways to connect deeper with yourself, with your family, with your journey of life and faith, with a sense of doing something beyond yourselves for someone else. And that's one of the things Grace I'm so proud of, is our missional connection to so many ways. That Sabbath is not meant to be an extra thing on our to-do list when everything else is complete, but it is an attitude of Sabbath that Jesus invites us to build into our regular, ongoing days. And so there might be times of the week that work for people. Other people are like, I never know from day to day what that's going to look like. What might it be for us to practice the pause and to engage in an attitude of Sabbath as we lean into this summer coming through COVID as we have. I'd like to conclude by sharing a song poem. It's actually the insert in your bulletin. And I just found these words helpful for me. And so if they're helpful for you as we think about this busyness, that's the thing, as people come out of this COVID, having been in and constrained for so long, people are busting out and they're just doing. And so in the midst of that, may we see if we can balance that by practicing the pause and having an attitude of Sabbath so that we might fully enjoy the delights, the gift and the challenges that God places us in. Come and find the quiet center. Come and find the quiet center in the crowded life we lead. Find the room for hope to enter. Find the frame where we are freed. Clear the chaos and the clutter. Clear our eyes that we can see all the things that really matter. Be at peace and simply be. Silence is a friend who claims us, cools the heat and slows the pace. God it is who speaks and names us, knows our being, touches base, making space within our thinking, lifting shades to show the sun, raising courage when we're shrinking, finding scope for faith begun. In the Spirit, let us travel, open to each other's pain. Let our loves and fears unravel, celebrate the space we gain. There's a place for deepest dreaming. There's a time for heart to care. In the Spirit's lively scheming, there is always room to spare. So everyone, let's take a deep breath. Let us breathe, pause, consider what needs to be done and what we can let go of for a moment, a day, or for good. Let us receive the gift and the challenge of this ancient commandment that by thinking about Sabbath, we might order our moments and hours in ways that bring life to ourselves and to others as we support one another on this journey called life. Thanks be to God. Amen.